all, how are you? Scrolling down to pattern focus to find today's pattern. Let's go down here to Safish. That's a cute little pattern. It's very not abstract. It's very fishy. So, this is one by Lindy Clarkson. One of this year's. We're aiming for these little guys. We're going to start with a circle. Then there's going to be this little funky doodle shape, whatever that is. Sort of a C. Right? Coming off of there. Oh, I see. That one just is a little wonky. This is more of a C shape. Off of there is 3 petal-like shapes. And then number 4 at the top, another kind of a C shape. And then in the front, 2 petal-like shapes. And then we'll put an eye. And then you have this little fishy. And then you can make a variety of little fishies all swimming in the sea. I want to see what I can do with this pattern without putting the eye and leaving it right there so that it's a little less obvious as to what it is. We'll see. But I don't think I'm gonna put the eye in, at least maybe not right away, and see what I can do with this pattern. Okay. Because I want it to be more abstract. Turn on my light. I want to, because it's really predictable to make it into a fish and do a fish water scene, and I don't want my tile to look like the sample. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to do something, find myself the middle. Just thinking about shapes and composition. Yeah, okay. So right about there. Something like that. Okay. Let's draw one of these little fishies. Circular shape. And then this kind of C shape. And 3 of those. And 2 of those. And 1 of those. I'm going to do it on this side. Oh, I missed a step. Fudge. Ah. You know what? Guess what? Those little guys, that part is going to be dark. Look at there. We fixed it. Okay. And then 2 little bits like that. And a bit like that. Okay. And then I'm going to go the other way here. Okay, so while I'm drawing these, next question is, can you please come visit in South Africa? Retha van Straten has asked me that question, and if I could, I absolutely would. South Africa sounds like a absolutely bucket list place to put on my list of places to come. And if I ever get to that point where I can travel to South Africa, guess what? I will look you up. Meanwhile, don't think it's going to happen, but you know, never say never, because you don't know what's going to happen in your life. Actually, I think I want those a little bit smaller. I drew that pencil, but I don't think I want it that big. I think I want them smaller. A little bit smaller. And they're going to go the other way. That way. Okay, next question. What was an unexpected result of tangling? Interesting. I'm trying to think. A lot of what I get out of tangling is something that, you know, I expected. But what's an unexpected result of tangling? Maybe well, one of the unexpected things for me is the creation of this YouTube channel. That's for sure. And another one would be that I've stuck with it for so long. I just told you all about all the drawing, you know, all the various crafts and things I've done since I was little. I've always flitted from one, excuse me, from one artsy activity to another. I seem to get art bored really easily, and I tend to do something for a while and then stop and maybe come back to it. But tangling's the one thing that I've done consistently for an extended period of time. So I think that's a bit of a surprise. But yeah, for sure the YouTube channel, because if you had told me, see, I've been doing this just a little over 2 years. It was 2 years in July. If you had told me 3 years ago, when I just discovered tangling, was it 3 years or was it 4 years? Anyway, if you told me prior to me starting this channel that I would be at this point with almost 15,000 subscribers and that I would be putting out content every single day for 2 years, I would have laughed at you. I'm gonna get, whoops, hang on to your page. Tip number 1 when you're erasing, hang on to your page. So there's those little guys. I don't think I want the eyes. Let me do it with an eye, but I don't think I want the eyes. The eye would be here. That's what it would look like with the eyes. But I don't want them to look specifically like fish. I really don't. I want it to be a little more abstract. So I'm not going to do those little eyes. But I put them in pencil there so you could see what it might look like. I think what I'm going to do though, I want my tile to be a little more something. A little more something. You like that? Very specific. Okay. So okay, so I'm going to do this. Uh-oh, I almost got too close to the edge of my page. I don't like going off the edge of my page. I didn't make myself a border because I didn't think I was going to need one. Really? Okay. Let's see. I guess I should do another question. What is your biggest pet peeve? and that person had put in their question what their pet peeve was. I didn't think it was appropriate to, you know, just spread that. If you go back to that video and you want to look at that person's pet peeve, you know, go for it. My biggest pet peeve is when people lie. That's like a deal breaker for me. Lying is like one of the things that I just can't abide. I can abide a lot of stuff. I have put up with a lot of stuff from people. I can deal with all sorts of things. Lying is not one of them. I have severe trust issues, and so if somebody lies to me once, then I just tend to just completely shut down with that person, and I have a really hard time trusting them again. Now, with my faith, I do believe I need to forgive a person if they are repentant. If they've lied to me and they say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I did this because this, that, or the other, I didn't want to hurt your feelings, I didn't mean it," whatever. I can forgive them in that sense. But I really have a hard time. Just because you have forgiven somebody doesn't necessarily mean you have to trust them again. They have to earn that trust back for me. And it takes a really long time. And I'm not somebody who can't eventually have that trust. So, there have been people in my life, and they are still in my life, and I do trust them, but they have done some really not so nice things and kept things from me that needed to have been said. And, I've been lied to, straight out. I've been lied to. Looked me right in the face and said, no, it wasn't me. It was somebody else. And then I find out later, yeah, it was you. And mostly they lied to me because they were embarrassed for their own behavior. And eventually I got over it, but it took a really long time to trust again. I'm serious. So that's probably my biggest pet peeve is for somebody to lie to me. Because once you've lied to me, I don't believe anything you say after that. Even though that might have been the one and only thing you ever lied to me about. But, how am I going to know? I always feel like I've not been... I feel like it's a failing in myself because my radar wasn't good. Maybe it's because I'm too trusting to start with. But, you gotta trust people somewhere. But, yeah, once they've lost my trust, it's really hard to get it back. Sorry, folks. If you're one of those people who have lost my trust, you can get it back, but you have to own up. That's the one thing. You have to own up. Lying is bad. Lying and not owning up is worse. When I was raising my son, I taught him that, kids lie. They do. It's something that happens. They don't tell the truth, especially if they've been caught in doing something they shouldn't have been doing. But I always told him that, if you've done something wrong, and and I catch you that you've done the wrong thing, whatever it may be, that, you know, yes, you'll get punished. But if I've caught you and I know you did it and you lie to me and say you didn't do it, then your punishment is like doubled. So telling the truth was something that was really, really important. And my son was one of those people who at one point had said or done something that, and I don't even remember now what it was that he did or said, that he totally just flat out lied to me. And for a long time, he would then tell me something, and I said, well, no, I don't believe you. And he goes, but I'm telling you the truth. And I said, well, but how do I know that? Because you lied to me before. So how do I know that you're telling me the truth? Well, Mom, I'm telling you the truth. But how do I know? And I says, you're going to have to, you know, step up your game here and always be telling me the truth. And after a while, I'll start to believe you again. But right now, I don't. And that I think was a really good lesson for him. He's never lied to me since. It took us some time to get past that. You know, probably took us several months before I would, you know, completely take him at face value and not question every time he talked to me. But once we got past that, he realized that I was serious. That lying is the one thing that you just don't do with me. If you want me to continue having the same relationship. And so, you know, we got past it. And of course I love him, and I've always loved him. Just because I didn't believe him doesn't mean I didn't love him. And he knows that, you know, and we have a really great relationship now. And this was back, I don't know, he was a teenager. Teenagers do stuff. But we have a great relationship. So, and I trust him wholeheartedly, and I don't believe he would ever lie to me again. Hopefully, I'm not wrong in that. But no, it just takes a long time to get my trust back. Trying to talk and keep talking because I can hear my son in the other room, and I don't know if you guys can hear it, but if you can, I don't want you to be overhearing what he's saying. So I'm going to keep talking. Do you work with chalk pastels? If so, do you use a fixative or just hairspray? I'm not currently working with chalk pastels, but I have in the past. And I am personally an advocate of not using non-art materials when there's a art material alternative. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, what I'm trying to say is, if you're using a fixative for your chalk pastels, yes, I used a fixative, and yes, I used a regular fixative and not hairspray. And yes, hairspray is probably cheaper. You can go to the dollar store and buy a can of hairspray. Hairspray is not meant as an art supply. I truly believe that unless there's you can make art out of anything, you know, but if something chemically is not meant to be an art supply, I don't think you should use it. It's just, you know, if you value your art, I value my art, even if I'm going to just give it away. At the time I'm doing it, I value my art, and I think you should use art supplies for art. That's not to say that if you're doing a mixed media piece and something's not art supply, that you can't use it. But for things when it comes to paints or like the fixative, I'm assuming that if you're using a fixative, that you want to preserve your chalk pastel drawing, right? That's the point of the fixative. If you didn't care if it lasted or not, you wouldn't bother spraying it. You just let it smudge and do what it's going to do, and you wouldn't worry about it. But because you care and you want to preserve the work that you just did, why would you use something that's not meant for preserving art? That's what I'm trying to say. Because, you know, what does hairspray do in the long term? It probably turns yellow. It may affect the chemical composition of the paper. It may affect the chemical composition of your art materials, your chalk pastels, or, you know, something else. Right now, a big thing is acrylic pouring. And I love what people are doing, and I think it looks awesome. But I am against adding things to my paint that may cause, not may cause, that will cause over time a degradation to the paint. That's just my personal opinion. Other people have other opinions about that. You know, clearly there's a lot of people who, you know, want to put things in their paint to cause an unusual chemical reaction, which is what is happening, to cause the paints to react in such a way that creates the cells and things that people are looking for. But I don't think you should be adding things to paints that don't belong in paint. You know, people are saying, well, can you use olive oil? Can you use baby oil? It's like, those things don't belong in paint, especially the olive oil. Don't put food grade items in your art unless you expect your art to not last. Now, that's okay. You can do it and it will work, but I wouldn't put my foodstuffs in my art unless I expected my art to deteriorate, because food deteriorates. It's just, it does. You know, I've been around long enough to know that food deteriorates and oils are going to go rancid. And if you want your painting to go rancid, put oil in your painting. You absolutely can do it, but I don't think it's smart. Same thing with the fixative. I don't think it's smart to use things that aren't meant. And the fixatives are not that expensive. I mean, really. If you're doing a lot of chalk pastels and you need to purchase a fixative, it's going to cost you, you use your coupon at Michael's, and it's going to cost you what? $5 or $6. I don't know what fixative is now, but I'm guessing a can of fixative is in the $8 to $10 range to start with. So, you know, use your coupon and get it for $5 or $6 instead of getting it for $3. Although cans of hairspray, let me tell you, I work in a drugstore. Cans of hairspray can be upwards of $20. So not necessarily, depending on what you have in your cupboard, are you saving any money. But I wouldn't put it, you know, that hairspray is meant as a temporary fix for your hair that you wash out at the end of the day. It is not meant as a permanent fixative for any reason. And so it's not tested for that purpose. It's not archival. It's just, I wouldn't do it. Just, maybe that's my pet peeve. Sheesh. Apparently I have strong opinions. Okay. there we go. I've made myself a little something something out of the little Safish. And I like that better without the little eyes. But you can totally see that pattern in there. You know, you guys do what you want with your art. I don't want to totally bash on your parade. I mean, when you're drawing, when you're creating, when you're coloring, use your materials, use them to the best. But, you know, take some pride in what you're doing. And I understand if you can't afford high dollar art materials, because like for our drawings, right, I use archival ink, and I use technical pens, a variety of brands. You know, here I've got a Micron, here I've got a Zig Millennium, here I've got a STA, because that's the last one I bought. I buy on sale. I try to be, you know, I cut my paper off out of cardstock, but I'm using art supplies. If I wanted, you know, for example, I have done these, you know, I've made these interesting things. This is coffee dyed paper, right? I know that I'm not expecting this to last forever, because I've put food on my paper. I don't know what this is going to do over the long haul. I don't know what the coffee is going to do to the structure of the paper. Right now it's fine, but I also don't expect these tiles to last forever, and they're not long term or long duration art. So you can do it. I just don't recommend it if you have an alternative. That's all. You know. That's all. I'm sorry. I kind of got on my soapbox. You never know what's going to come out of me when I answer these questions. I don't know what's going to come out of me. I don't think about them ahead of time. It just comes out. All right. You guys have a great day. I will see you tomorrow. Go do something nice for someone today. And I will be back. I'm going to check on my papers and see if they're dry yet. See if I can cut them up and start some Inktober's. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.